welcome, Erik, to Linear Rock.
Thank you so much. That's a very warm welcome.
Such a pleasure to have you here. And first off, a few hours later, happy birthday, since yesterday was your birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Did you party hard? That's why you're late?
No, actually, it's no party hard at the moment. It's actually a lot of studio work. I'm mixing 2 records at the same time, which means it's a bit of stressful.
Wow.
It's not my own bands. I'm mixing a Norwegian sleaze rock band, and I'm mixing the new record for a Swedish band called Therion.
Okay, wow. So a lot of stuff. You're always very, very active. So frontman, singer, guitarist, author, composer, and you're the mastermind behind Eclipse from Stockholm, Sweden. Are you in Stockholm right now? Or?
No, I'm actually, I moved from Stockholm, so I'm living on the countryside at the moment.
Okay. So,
so it's I'm living on an island in the lake.
All right, fantastic. One of the coolest bands, I must say, of classic European hard rock, which, take no prisoners. In the last 15, 20 years. Long time already. So new album Wired on Frontiers Music is the 8th chapter of a steadily rising career, which is always very interesting. Eclipse have, the ambitious gift and talent of successfully keeping hard rock alive, I must say, and in its essence, actually, and you get everyone to agree. Heavy metal fans, power metal fans, classic hard rock, and even melodic rock fans, they all agree that Eclipse is such a top band. Have you ever given yourself an explanation for this?
I think maybe it's the whole mixture of everything. It's a mixture of heavy metal riffs, like pure metal riffs sometimes, and sometimes it's almost indie rock combined with, but it's a mixture of everything that we are influenced by and like. And on top of everything, it's the melodies and the songwriting that is always the focus. It's never the coolest riff or the attitude. It's always the songwriting that's the main focus of the band. And I think that's the reason why it works in so many camps, all from black fans to pop fans can be at our concerts and sing along and have a good time.
And actually, it's true what you say. There's, a lot of atmospheres and sound, it's always a surprise, but you always know what you're getting when you have, a new Eclipse album in your hands and to listen to. Is it, a sort of comfort zone formula in a sense, or simply you push, a true coherent consistency that you absolutely can't resist, which is your essence and your identity?
Well, I don't know. I think we've changed quite a lot, but it's we are the same people that play the music, and I'm the same singer, which makes it sound kind of similar all the time. But if you go to how we write and the influences we write and incorporate in the sound, I think we've added a lot in the last 5-10 years. It's very different from an album almost 10 years ago. It's quite different, but still it's the same band. And we don't want to do the AC/DC style and do the same album over and over again. We always try new stuff, but as I said before, it's just we write the songs that we like, and that gets us excited. And I think that's why it kind of sounds similar as well.
So how does Wired fit into your artistic evolution? What's new and what's not in it from your point of view?
I think it's more of a party record this time. It's very up-tempo, it's fun, and I think this whole COVID pandemic situation has made us write even happier or more up-tempo fun songs. And I think there's almost like a punk rock attitude sometimes when you listen to it. The energy from the band. It doesn't sound like punk rock, but it's got the energy almost.
And was it actually twice as tough for such an active band as you are? This pandemic, this forced rest. Did you feel more or less pressure this time, maybe taking more time, changing maybe the writing process since you had, a lot of time ahead?
Yeah, we had a lot of time, but it's, we had a little more time than usual. But usually we don't want to spend too much time on, writing, recording, especially recording the record. The recordings also always go very fast when we start. It's the writing that takes time. It's always been that way. But we did it kind of the same way as before. We always meet up in person. We don't write over internet or Skype or anything. We have to meet in person. I think that's very, very important.
So do you live all close? I mean, in the same area?
No, we don't. We live in separate parts of Sweden. So we book like weeks. Like this week we're going to write song. We have let's say we book 4 days of writing. So you can't sit down together with someone writing songs for 3 weeks in a row. It's better to just have a few days, very focused, and then take a break and then start over again a week later or 2 weeks later.
You have a sing-along approach. Is the chorus usually what comes first for you guys, and then the whole song is actually built around it, or those are choruses, that are the most difficult to find and arrange, even for a prolific band as Eclipse are?
I think we usually start with the guitarists, always with the guitarists. We write the same way as, I guess, most people who play guitar. We start with the guitar riff or try to come up with something. And it's very strange when you write. It's, one day you can write 2 great songs in one day, and sometimes you can spend 2 weeks and you can't come up with anything. It's just, you never know when it's going to happen. And we are not the kind of people that sit down and, open a bottle of red wine and light a candle and wait for inspiration. We are more like, we are hardworking writers. Today we're going to write songs. We start at 9:00, drinking coffee and start writing songs. We do it in a very, in a kind of professional way, but I think that's how it has to be.
And usually is it a band effort, or there's a leading force, like maybe you or Magnus, that come with ideas that you develop together?
Yeah, it's usually Magnus and me. And the new thing with this record is that we have a new bass player in the band, and Victor, who he contributed to at least 3 or 4 songs on this record, which is great. So he was also here in the studio writing together with Magnus and myself. But we also bring in outside writers. We have a guy called Michael, who's been writing with us for over 10 years, 15 years I've been writing with him. So me and him, we do a lot of lyrics together. And also it's a good friend of mine called Johan, who's also been a part of writing with the band ever since the beginning. So we are not afraid of, working with others as well. But usually that's the main core. It's Michael, Johan from the outside, and then it's the band.
Do lyrics comes, at last, or actually sometimes maybe you write some text before having, a proper song built? And was actually writing in English something that always came very natural to you?
Yeah, it's been very, very natural, because all the hard rock music I listened to as a kid was in English. So it sounded strange to sing in Swedish. It didn't fit at all. It didn't sound like Iron Maiden or Wasp or anything. It's got to be English. And I usually do the lyrics last when all the melodies are done. But having said that, when I do melodies, I always sing this. We call it swenglish, a mixture of Swedish or English. It's just, but more like nonsense English. Yeah. It's just words that don't make no sense together. But somehow they always sound right. And a lot of that stuff actually are being left for the final lyric, because usually the words that come out when you do this, the scrap vocals in the beginning, write the songs, is actually in the right mood of the whole song. So usually the title is the thing that comes first.
Okay. And at this point in your career, what are your goals, especially while composing a new album? What motivation and expectations do you have, since you already achieved a lot, an excellent level of success in terms, of sales, fan base, and media support also? So there's more pressure because of that, and also you come out of Paradigm, which was such a successful album. So
yeah, we don't really we never think about what fans or media or anyone will think about a record when we write it. We just do the songs that we like, and if we like the songs, I guess others will too. But we are super hard on ourselves when we write, and that's the best thing you can do. You can just write the songs that gets us in the band excited, and so I think that's the criteria for every record. We should be really proud of the record before it's delivered to the record label, because it's there are no people harder to please than the band itself. I promise you that. So I think that's why we've kept up this high level of writing and
yeah. So that's the trick. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you had to choose, the perfect poker of Eclipse songs, I mean, 4 songs that you are totally proud of your history, even in the long run, does that maybe remain a benchmark, the reference each time you approach new compositions? Which one, would you pick? You have 4.
Okay, I would definitely pick Viva la Victoria, even if it was a big hit. I think it has a lot of stuff that is Eclipse. It's got that, very catchy chorus. It's got all the melodies. It's got a cool riff and all this almost folk music vibe on the in the riff. So I think that's one. And I'd say, what else? Well, I don't know. Roses on Your Grave. I really like that one from the new album, the first song from the new record.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. And what else? I love a song called The Storm.
All right. So you have 3. You missed one more.
Okay, one more. The Downfall of Eden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I could have chosen very different songs.
Wired came on regular CD, vinyl, which is crystal and clear red, and on cassette. Why this, vintage choice in an era, when music is pretty much in digital, liquid? And was it a winner? I know it was available just in Sweden, if I'm correct, the tape. But was it your idea, and how where did it come from?
The idea with the tape we talked about that in the band for over 10 years, that we should do something like that, but we haven't done it. But the reason this one came out on for Wired is because we have Elio, who works at Frontiers Record. He came up with the idea for this record. We thought it was we have almost forgot about we could do cassette. Everyone just let's do cassette because it's totally nostalgia reasons, of course. But as with streaming, then you get the music, but you don't get the artwork. You don't get the art. You kind of lose. I don't even mean the artwork. I mean you lose a lot of the art that which music and the whole package. It builds something greater together. And I think when you get the vinyl, I think that's the best format for it.
Yeah, with cassette, you had to rearrange, artwork because it's smaller. It's got a different shape. Did you have to study it in a different way? Because I didn't see the cassette, so that's why I'm asking you.
The cassette actually got the whole artwork. It's a different artwork, of course, because it's a different format. But it's got all the pictures, it's got all the lyrics and all the stuff. Because when we started to do the artwork, I actually got and looked at an old Bon Jovi cassette, which I got, and it was had all the lyrics. So we had to make it look as expensive and professional as the Bon Jovi cassette. And I think it looks great. Frontiers and did a great work at delivering the cassette.
Okay, so now we play more music, but stick around for a few more questions right after this. So now we're going to listen to one of the songs you picked, actually, which is Roses on Your Grave. But can you tell us which is the grave that inspired you, to put roses on? Can you introduce the song, tell us more about it?
It is actually, this is a lyric I wrote together with my friend Michael, and he had just had a divorce, which was really bad. And the grave is actually their relationship, and it was a perfect theme. So we wrote it around his life situation at the moment. So it's a real life situation, thankfully not mine, but it was good. So the grave is the relationship that's dead.
Okay, so let's have a listen to it. Roses on Your Grave, Eclipse. So, Erik, Roses on Your Grave is number 4 on our LINEAROCK Top 20 Hits this week. So it's a great song that we really appreciate. And there's a guy, one of our listeners that just wrote in called Bruno that say, every Eclipse album is all killer, no filler. So all great songs and always on top. And from Russia, there's Daria who salutes you, and she wanna actually say happy birthday to you as well, since yesterday it was your birthday, and so she brings all the best to you.
Fantastic, thank you so much.
And okay, so we have a few more questions, then we'll let you go to your work, which you have a lot of stuff to do. But I was wondering, do you have a secret, unexpected musical hero, that no one could ever imagine? Someone that maybe doesn't stick out as an immediate influence in your attitude and also in your music, but that you still consider, irresistible for some reason?
Oh, which one should that be? Well,
I don't know if there's any, but
I really like the band The Killers a lot. I've been listening to them for many, many years, and I think they put out great records. I think Brandon Flowers, the singer, is one of my favorite singers ever. And I don't sound anything like him or anything. I'm not influenced by singing like him, but I like the band a lot. And
so that's your guilty pleasure, let's say.
Yeah, well, it's not that guilty. I probably have worse guilty pleasures than that when it comes to music. But I listen to folk music quite a lot from time to time. A lot of classical music as well. So I've tried to. For me, it's like it's kind of boring, but it's for me. There's two kinds of music. It's good music and bad music, and I don't really. I'm not. Doesn't matter if it's. And good music can be black metal. It can be pop music. It can be anything. It's just what I like, and what I don't. It's just
that's a very Swedish approach, I must say, because you have a wide range, of influences and also of,
Coming cold here.
Okay, so you were telling us before that you like to mix, a lot of stuff, and you're actually confirming now that you listen also to a lot of different stuff. You also got involved in some extra collaborations, as you're doing also at the moment. You've been involved also with W.E.T or Nordic Union, just to mention a couple. Do you go by instinct in general when it comes, with extra Eclipse stuff, or do you actually tend to overthink and go targeted, and what you are looking for in all your extra musical collaboration?
Yeah, when I write, I always focus on writing for the project I have. I'm working currently on. So when I'm writing for Nordic Union, I focus on. I think in Ronnie Atkins' voice, I think I would fit him, and also get in the mood of the band. And W.E.T is more like W.E.T is a bit more pink and fluffy, and I think Nordic Union is a bit darker, more more folk kind of. Sometimes it's more heavy metal and some folk music influences as well. But closest to my heart when we write songs that we kind of push the borders a little bit. It's Eclipse. It's my main band, and that's where I put all my main energy, so to speak.
So how will you surprise us next? What's in the can, which is the most unexpected thing that you're working at the moment?
Well, I think the most unexpected thing would be if the pandemic would finally be over and we can go out and tour and play our music live. I think we are also insanely tired at this situation, and we just canceled. We had dates booked for the winter, and they all been canceled. And we still have some dates in Spain coming up, but I don't see that going to happen with the current situation, and everyone is closing down more and more. So I think it's we were cut short on the Paradigm tour. We only did we did a tour, but we never started doing festivals and stuff. So that album was cut short, and hopefully it will be great to even start playing these songs live, the new Wired songs.
Since you mentioned the live situation and touring, you used, to deliver very high energy live shows with Eclipse, and still keeping, it a perfect, impeccable performance, which is actually rare. What's your trick? How can you do that? You actually rehearse a lot. And also having now two brothers, as a rhythm section, Philip and Victor, makes a difference. What would you say? They're more connected, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know if they're more connected when they play, but it's, they're both great as and I think that's most important. When you have a band, you play music together and you do concerts. That's what fans see. But as a band member, you do everything but play music. Actually, when you go on tour, the least thing you do is play music. The most of the time you spend in a tour bus, on hotel rooms, on airports, and stuff. So it's so important that you enjoy hanging out with the guys, the people in the band. That's super important. Otherwise, it's no fun. And we don't want to be one of those. When we played, we opened up for Aerosmith, and they all came in different limousines.
Yeah.
They didn't even travel. And we opened up for Deep Purple. I heard that they couldn't even be on the same flight, some of the members. It's like, what's the point in touring when it's like that? I'd rather do something else instead. So I think that's important. But also with playing live and doing great shows. We have played so much music live. Magnus and me, we have been in cover bands. Before Eclipse, we played thousands of shows. We've been playing so much live music, so we know it inside out, to be honest.
So you changed a lot of lineups. So maybe that's why. You feel the band has to be a true unit, and you have to stay together. That's maybe why it happened that you changed members through the years, or it actually happened for other reasons.
It's different from member to member. Robban, our former drummer, he actually he quit because he was offered a spot in a bigger Swedish band, and he had 2 kids. He needed the income, so it's no hard feelings. He has go ahead, Robban, and take the gig, because he couldn't get 2 bands together. We tried to do that. It's impossible with 2 touring bands to be have the same member. Yeah.
Okay, but the band feeling is really important, I guess, for you guys. And we see that on stage, because it's really unbelievable. It's really high energy, but you really deliver. That's a band effort, and that's the best, actually. To see. Back to touring. What have you been missing, and what you did not miss at all about life on the road?
Airports. I hate airports and being on flights. I think that's terrible. It's so boring. Every time I step into an airport, a small part of me just dies. But it's, I like the whole tour bus thing. Many people think that it's a lot of people on just a small bus, but it's actually pretty comfortable. You have your own bunker to sleep in. You can sleep while we're traveling. So it's a very tight group of people on a tour. So it's actually pretty fun, and sit up kind of late after gigs and talking and having a few beers and wake up in the next city and do another gig and meet fans. That's what I miss.
So you prefer the home on wheels? That's the approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a car and hotel rooms. It sounds more fancy than it actually is.
Okay.
It means no sleep, and no sleep means no voice and no fun.
Okay, since yesterday it was your birthday, which was the best present that you received last night?
Well, it was only with it was just with my kids and my wife, and so it was. I guess we had a very nice dinner. I think that was the best thing.
Wow.
And my brother actually came along with he brews his own beer, and he's really, really good at it. And he came along with a keg of a 10-liter keg with home, just purely fresh brewed beer.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to see the Twilight video clip, which was filmed at the Alcatraz Festival in a period when you finally returned on stage. Did you choose to shoot such a video as a good, as the best omen for the future? Let's say there's also a hint of Beethoven's Ode to Joy in the arrangement, which I'm sure will bring good luck. And how do you envision, the future of concerts and touring at the moment? Since you experience, you stayed home, then you've been back, now you're back home, then you will be back. It's like, an unstable situation. How do you envision that?
Yeah, it's really. There's like in the beginning, it was kind of this is not. It's gonna be over soon, and then after a while, we kind of gave up, and I'm back to just. I don't really. In one way, I really care, and I'm very disappointed that it's starting all over again. But it's like it's nothing I can do anything about. We can't do anything about it, and it's just. I don't feel like it's. I don't want to put energy in being upset over the situation. It's just it is what it is, and it's when it's possible to play live again, we will be ready, and we really look forward to it. But hopefully, it will be. I don't know. My guess is probably worse than anyone else's.
Okay, so let's look at the future, with a positive vibe, such as your music brings, which is always fantastic and very optimistic as well with your high energy. So let's dream about having you back on tour, seeing this video, which is fantastic, and hope to see you soon again in Italy. And thanks for your time, Erik. And,
thank you for having me.
Great. So see you soon, hopefully. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as we can.
Ciao, Erik. Grazie.
Ciao.
And this is Twilight, Eclipse. Ciao, Erik.
Ciao.